E3. From Software at E3. Okay, I'm on it. GameSpot. Ed Boon on GameSpot. I'm on it.
Check. I'm
Whoa.
literally just introducing the segment and then tossing it over to Yuri, right? It's like
Oh
the
my
whole
god,
thing.
don't
Right.
say the N-word. I'm gonna leave Capcom sound on just in case they say the N-word.
Check.
Opportunity for us to do that, like these Atrocitus, Gorilla Grodd, Supergirl, these
Just
are the
in case, it could
characters
be
that
funny,
we're
we'll catch
kinda
it.
introducing here, as well as this big, what we're calling the gear system for the game.
What's that selection process like? Because obviously it involves you, it involves the
Airhead
vocal fans,
bites.
and then presumably it also involves DC. So
Yeah.
how do you come out
What
to
does that
get
have to
your,
do with
your sort of full
Injustice?
deck of characters?
We usually come up with a list
at all
that's
those
like
characters.
80% of what we ended up being. As we write the story, we have these very detailed kind of cinematic stories that we do.
J-Dash. Thanks,
the
J-Dash.
writers, need
15
characters that
inches.
they can,
Good
a
shit.
certain amount of villains, certain amount of heroes, and we want to be able to accommodate that. And DC also, joins the conversation, and then of course, the passionate players who really let their points, be heard
you got
on
me?
Twitter and social media.
yeah. And through the mailbox and shouting outside your house, I'm sure. And everything. We're having a look at some gameplay right here. Gorilla Grodd already going at it.
Yes, two of the new additions to our roster. Gorilla Grodd, who's the villain of the Flash, and Atrocitus, who was kind of like a big, angry, bloody.
I like the
almost
I like the
opposite
heads
of
up
Green
display.
Lantern.
It's better than
Atrocitus is kind of
before.
like an anti-hero, but he's got a lot of anger issues. And but they're so far two of our big brawler characters. Grodd's kind of interesting in that he has these kind of big gorilla ape moves, but he also has kind of telekinetic moves, which is like kind of like a Kenshi or an Ermac or something like that. It's a great combination of the two.
We'll talk about the gear system in a second, but
Damn,
how
the
is
jump
the
arc
fighting
seems
developed?
crazy.
Is it very much similar to Injustice, the first one we played 2 years ago?
The groundwork is Injustice. I mean, we're with every game we try to add layers.
Wow, look at the
for
damage
players
system.
to kind of learn and master. Like a lot of these. The fighting game tournaments. The hardcore guys. We're really into the whole esports thing. We've been doing with Mortal Kombat X. And the first Injustice, we've been participating pretty heavily into the tournament scene, and so we've had a number of kind of like lower level stuff that some players may never quite experience, but the hardcore guys who really want to dig deep can really devour.
Talk to us a little bit about the gear system. So how does this work? Is it just like unlocks? Is it purely aesthetic?
Sure, it's gear, in probably the simplest of terms, I would describe gear as costume pieces that actually power up your character. So when you finish a fight, we're going to have these drops where basically, and the victory screen also rewards you with this gear, and you have the choice of equipping your character with that gear or not.
Thank you.
So there's a
Thanks, Ringo,
a
for the
molding, so to
13
speak,
inches.
of as you keep getting gear, you keep deciding
Appreciate
if you
it.
want to use it. And,
How's my
you wanna
voice in
focus on,
comparison to the
offense or
audio?
defense, or enhance
Let me
certain
know.
moves, or unlock certain
Thanks
moves.
very much again.
And you'll notice,
Garcias.
see here that the gear is being rewarded, and
Look,
the player has
rare,
the opportunity
Curse of
to
Rage.
equip their character with that gear right away, or to kind of save it in a in
a vault or
exactly, and then they can
Good.
equip their
Thanks.
player for certain missions or something like that if they really want to beef up their defense or offense or enhance this one move or something like that. And that kind of customization really results in visually and gameplay wise, it's your Grodd, it's your Superman, your Batman, your Aquaman, and that's really the kind of foundation that we're
I've seen that super though.
building our main gameplay around.
go for a bit.
I've got a question. Who is this rocket-powered cat that keeps flying in from
He is also, Atrocitus is a Red Lantern. There's a whole spectrum of colors, and he is actually another Red Lantern. His name is Deathstroke. It's part of the DC lore. and they're
Part of
kind
the lore. I
they
swear
kinda
we
work
didn't make
together.
this shit
And
up.
So we incorporated him.
Watermelondra is part of the
Oh
lore.
yeah, look.
He does all these.
Oh man.
He's adorable.
I swear we didn't make
we
that
have
up.
the,
Speaking to a good
All they do
crowd
is
here
make
as well.
shit
People
up
must
at
have
NRS and
Yeah,
pretend
and,
like it's
so
in the lore.
It's awesome.
Jackie
People who
Briggs?
know
Who the fuck is
the
that?
Metropolis,
Where's Smoke?
Kind of backstory and lore will really appreciate his cameo. There.
How is the gear stuff going to play into what you were talking about earlier with esports? Are you going to lock that stuff out? Is it?
Oh,
Yeah, well, certainly,
oh shit! That
you know,
car
the
fucking launched
gameplay
him.
changes are-
Damn!
You're gonna have a
What the fuck was that car made out
of
of?
Superman after
It launched him.
Yeah, gearing
kind of
up.
gearing him up and leveling him up. So
That was
we
sick.
will obviously have something to level things out for things like tournaments and whatnot, because you don't want to have somebody coming in with a
This
level
game's gonna be
3
funny,
Superman
that's for
against a
sure.
level 1.
We're gonna talk a lot of shit.
We certainly have plans to do like a more level playing field version.
DC are also keeping pretty busy on their own media front. The development of Batman vs Superman, has that affected your development at all, or like even Supergirl, like what they're doing there? Has any of that sort of bled into what you're doing in Injustice?
No. I mean, a lot of what we do is kind of we draw inspiration from the comics and the movies, and the animated shows is a really big one too. But pretty much the development of our stuff is independent of the movies and all that.
Yeah. And it must be fun, I guess. Second time around, there's probably a bit more trust there as well. They've seen what you've done. Like previously, it was like, okay, these crazy Mortal Kombat devs are gonna take our DC characters and make them rip each other's throats out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when we were pitching the first game, one of the things I would always say is like, we have no intention of tearing Batman's head off. We have no intention of doing anything, Mortal Kombat like. Our studio is filled with, superhero fans, and so we just love this kind of stuff. With some of the
Supergirl
we come up
fans.
with on inspiration of something we might have seen in the animated series or something like that, and so we love these kind of nods to the.
No stamina
anyone
is
who's a fan of these
refreshing.
Characters, you're really going to see how much we love them.
This is gonna feel exactly like
Peter, I know you're
Injustice
a massive
1.
Mortal Kombat fan as well.
Exactly.
8 out of 10 on GameSpot.
This is
We
gonna be
gave
Injustice
Mortal
1
Kombat
again.
X,
We did, yes.
last year.
With
Yeah, and
gear.
actually, I'm very curious. I understand the different series, obviously, but what did developing Mortal Kombat X and
Wager.
Mortal Kombat X, and then the reception? that
Right? No,
followed,
that's a
how did that
super.
inform your approach
This is
to
super.
Injustice 2, if at all?
Hey, Aris,
I have to
you
imagine
are
there's some
stuck
sort of-
on an island for
Yeah.
the rest of your life.
Every game,
One member of
we can
the
kinda
FGC
take a
is
step
also
back and
stuck
kinda,
with you.
Thanks very much. I really
ask ourselves,
appreciate that.
what resonated
Fun
with people,
questions
what could we have done
for
better,
streams.
kind of accumulate that
Muchos
stuff
Garcias.
and put it into it. One of the things that we've always wanted to do, as a studio, what we're always kind of moving towards is allowing the player to have more control over.
Oh, I
their
haven't seen this
character.
either.
So,
Damn,
with
she
Mortal
looks
Kombat,
butt
it's like,
ugly.
Okay, we're gonna make 3 versions of these characters.
Right.
You get to choose which one you like. They have differences that in terms of their style of gameplay, letting them select it. Now we're kind of like taking the next step of saying, okay, these variables that we're messing with, we're going to give you access to these variables and let you change things around. And then that kind of inspired like the leveling.
Wow, look
things
at her
out.
arms.
And so this
What's
is really
that
like
about?
a overall big picture direction that we're going with fighting games. We really feel like the more customization and things that players feel like they're involved in growing of these characters, the more it's just a more fun experience.
Does the gear system purely work within the limits
Man, her
of the game?
face
or
is
there
butt
microtransactions
ugly. What the
elements
fuck
to
is
that
wrong
as
with
well?
her face?
No,
They need to
we
fix
haven't-
that shit.
Honestly, we're really just getting the whole system up and ready. But we haven't really had any discussions about like microtransactions and whatnot. I think
Yeah, right.
big picture wise, we really want an experience that is just long lasting. We just want somebody to, like, when you start playing your game, your Supergirl is just a completely different character than what it ends up being. Gameplay wise and visually, it's not a creative character thing. We definitely don't want to like give the impression like we're changing the nose shape and doing all these kind of things like that. But as far as like the way you want your character to play, it is still fundamentally Supergirl, but it is you controlling the variables that we're exposing to you.
You guys have got a sort of a great little staple of games that people are enjoying in terms of fighting games. You've got the Mortal Kombat series, which has come to life in the past 5 years again. You've got Injustice. Are you guys sort of locked into those now on a biannual cycle?
It's been that way so far, but I don't think we've had like this kind of big picture plan. That's just how it's kind of worked out. You know, it's interesting, you know, with Mortal Kombat X, we've had the most downloadable characters, you know. And pretty recently, we introduced, you know, Alien and Leatherface and all that stuff. And so, exactly. And those have been featured in, like, we just had the ESL tournament this last Saturday. You know, it was like $200,000 in prizes. And I was there, and it was the first time that I was like, you know, we were talking about Mortal Kombat, and then Injustice has since been introduced, so I was bouncing between the two games. But I think as we continue to support these games for a longer period of time, that may affect, you know, the release of the next game.
Cool.
Because we really want the games just to be a longer lasting experience and new content coming.
Is there going to be a really large, robust story mode like we saw in Mortal Kombat?
Yes, absolutely. You know, every game we really try to kind of up the previous ones as far as like
Wow, that looked
whole
cooler at least.
cinematic presentation, and then it sets up the fight, and then the player participates with that. We're adding some really cool twists that we're gonna probably towards the end of the year we'll be talking a little bit more about the story mode and some of the changes we're making to it. But it is going to have that really, you know, that big cinematic experience.
And are all these sort of like story details therein concocted by your team, or are they pulled directly from the comics and the animated?
Well, it is from this universe that I guess we kind of you know, created. You know, DC it's awesome how they have the multiverse.
Yeah.
We can say, okay, in our version of the multiverse, Superman's this dictator, Batman's taking him down, you know, Superman kills Shazam, and all of these things, and that has kind of spawned the comic book, which has been like, it's become like this its own thing, which has really elaborated on that lore. So we're going to continue in that story.
Gotcha.
Continue that whole thing. The comic was like
She looks terrible.
The pre-chapter. First game is the first
Her
chapter.
face,
Second game is the second chapter.
Supergirl's
so
face.
A lot of cool
Jesus,
stuff.
but ugly.
Do you get involved in that stuff yourself a lot? Mortal Kombat always feels like it has a lot of Ed Boon in it in terms of, I mean, like these are characters who
How
you've
much
been
Ed Boon
crafting
does it
for,
have in
you
it?
know, 20 years, I guess.
Yeah, over 20 years.
Is it the same for Injustice as well? Or is it-
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's the you know, like I said, it's we have a studio of 150
So Shazam
people who
can't
just
be in it.
love superhero things, and so it's all a big collaborative effort in terms of the story
How's the
writing,
PC port
game
gonna be?
features, you know, the design, what the characters do. It's
Alien.
it's a very involved process. You know, we
Airheads
have,
bites.
in Mortal Kombat, we have fatality meetings. Somebody stands up, talks about how, and
I think you should
defending-
rip out his butthole. Is that what it's like?
I don't think that's ever
Rip
been
out his
said, but yeah,
butthole.
stuff to that
I
nature.
like this
Get it
guy's
to make
style.
money. Yeah. Got loads of those.
You should attend.
Problem already.
There's
I'd
a bunch of
download
questions
that.
coming through from the chat as well. Mostly about is X in game, but also some other folks wondering, are you guys going to be using GGPO? For this as well?
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. You know, one of the things that Mortal Kombat XL introduced was this rollback system that, you know, dramatically improves the online experience.
yeah.
Everything that we've learned, we're applying
Excuse me.
into Injustice 2, so it's going to have a great online netcode.
How many?
And he's
characters
not
were
smiling
in
after.
Injustice, at launch.
I think we started with 24 and we added 6, and then we ended with like 30, not including like some of the guest skins and stuff like that.
So
yeah.
presumably you're going to do something similar for Injustice.
At the
2?
very least,
Right.
you know, MK9, Injustice, MKX have all added to the previous games in terms of DLC characters and kind of long-term support.
Wow.
We plan on continuing that direction with Injustice.
What do you think
More
the sweet spot
characters.
is for that? Because obviously, like, gamers are very, you know, reticent when it comes to DLC and thinking like, oh, you know, I bought this game for X amount and it doesn't have everything I want. But I haven't seen that much of a backlash with those games specifically. Is there some sort of trick to it? Is it about having a decent amount of characters that they want up front, or?
I think like we've never had like a character that was, you know, on the disc, done, and we asked you, to when we release the game,
Shots fired at
we
Capcom.
are knee deep in working on the DLC,
Right.
And so just in order to release a game that has more,
Remember
more
that?
characters,
There was like
we have to
14
do
characters on the disc.
we have
That
to
was
continue working on it.
crazy.
It's a long process
was
after
crazy.
the game is launched.
All right. And we have some more gear here. What type of gear are we looking at? Chest
so,
plates, crowns.
Chin
Victorian
guard for when he's
crown,
giving
Superman
blowjobs.
was like this headgear that he
Rare chin guard
that
for
actually
Superman.
represents one of the looks that he has in our
Protects
story.
from the
It's like, he's a
balls.
little
Damn,
more of a
speaking of
dictator.
balls.
We have elements that let you kind of craft Superman that looks like that. We have a chest that is the Red Sun Superman. You can equip your guy with that and have him look like that. So you notice that Superman's wearing it now, and so
Chin gear.
that enhances. You can do things.
Man,
like,
so Ocean Man's gonna be a
damage
bitch
with,
again. He
with
still has that
environment,
stupid fucking
or
shit.
A little bit more blocking damage or enhanced.
You're bad at life, Aras. You suck so much you have no idea how sucky you even are. Rip is so much cooler than you in every way.
Thank you so much for coming
Even
on.
Rick's
Really
not as
appreciate you
cooler
taking
than
time to
you.
join us here on the Gamespot stage. When will we be playing Injustice?
Thanks very much.
You will definitely be
Who said
playing
that?
in 2017, and
Okay.
we'll probably narrow it
What's
down.
your
in
dumb
the
name?
next few months.
Not
Sometime
Rip's
next
fan.
year.
I hate
Wonderful.
Rip.
All right.
Thanks
Thank you so
very
much for
much.
coming on.
Not
Thank you.
Rip's fan. I
Appreciate
hate
your time.
Rip.
Thank you very much for watching. We have loads more games coming up
Keep
over
it
the next
down.
couple of hours. Watch Dogs 2.
I didn't even
Tekken
hear
7,
what he
Dead
said
Rising
about
4. We're also
Superman's
getting Legend of
chin
Zelda.
strap.
Tekken 7 as well. That's coming out next year too. Just the two of you though. But stick around. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Stay there.
Thanks very much. Not Rip's fan. I hate Rip.
Cool.
I'm gonna turn this
Yeah, sorry,
down. It's a bit loud.
Plug that.